All right, we're finally here for Captain America: Brave New World. I actually saw this movie a couple days ago. I know I'm late to the party, but you're gonna have to forgive me. I was really busy this weekend. I was shooting a commercial. I had a premiere for a movie that I'm co-starring in, which was pretty fun last night. And now we're here looking at Brave New World. I went and saw this with two of my sons, and I saw it with one of their friends as well. And it was kind of nice actually having other opinions, like first impressions right after you go see something, because you get different perspectives, and you can kind of process through everything you saw. So there's a lot of reviews out. I know I'm late to the party, but I really did see this a couple days ago. It's kind of nice though. It's given me a couple days to think about it a little bit, and I think what I've come up with is that it just felt really disjointed. So the main premise of the movie, or kind of what seemed to end up being the main premise of the movie, was this government espionage sleeper cell story that was going on, right? So they would, you know, and there's going to be just very minor spoilers throughout this. I think it's pretty obvious in the trailers, so I don't think I'm spoiling anything. But this is the forgotten Captain America, the first Captain America, right? And then you have Sam Wilson playing the now Captain America, who was Falcon, who for some reason became Captain America and really shouldn't have. I think Bucky Barnes was the right person. He's a super soldier, and he was, the closest friend of the Captain America that we all are familiar with. And it just didn't really make sense that Sam Wilson would become the next Captain America. So anyway, the point is that they had kind of this sleeper cell Bucky Barnes type story where a music would play and these people would be brainwashed, and then they'd go off and it would cause a problem. But I think one of the main problems with this, outside of just the fact that like that story didn't end up being the main story, which like in the whole beginning, that's like the whole point, right? And then at some point it kind of switches. It almost feels like they shot two different movies and they were trying to like ham fist them together. But there were certain parts of it I really liked. And then I think the biggest thing that ruined this movie for me, outside of just like the story completely changing or kind of veering off into left field in the third act, was just the inconsistency of Sam not being a super soldier and playing Captain America when he never should have. He should have just stayed the Falcon. He was already a superhero. Like, you don't need to be also Captain America. Because for what reason? I don't know. So here's the thing. I saw it just a minute ago. I think that one of the biggest problems with this movie was inconsistencies and being disjointed. And we all know that Sam Wilson's just a guy. He's just a dude. And there's a couple spots in the movie where this guy would have been destroyed by either Red Hulk or by his own actions. I guess I already passed it. Yeah, right there. Okay. So look in the trailer. Look at this. Think about this. He is flying downward faster than terminal velocity, right? Because he's pushing himself downward. He literally breaks the sound barrier, which, how fast is the sound barrier? How fast is the sound barrier? 767 miles per hour. So he's going 700, almost 800 miles per hour, right? That's the speed of sound. And I know this because you see him break the sound barrier, right? The sound barrier kind of breaks. It might even play here. Yeah, right there. He's breaking through it. You can see it just kind of flashing, right? He's popping through his own sound, going faster than it. And then he lands on his own 2 feet. Now, I don't care what kind of equipment you're telling me this dude has. I know his wings are Wakandan, like Wakandan material, which makes them absorb energy and then push him back. That's how he kind of defeats Red Hulk, right? Or matches Red Hulk, which is another thing we'll talk about in a second. But this should have been the end of the movie right here, and this is the first 5 minutes. He breaks the sound barrier doing 800 miles an hour, and then he lands on his own 2 feet. This is not a super soldier. And a super soldier couldn't do this, by the way. It wouldn't matter if you were Steve Rogers. It wouldn't matter if you were Bucky Barnes, you can't land at 800 miles per hour with your ankle twisted sideways. Look at how cheese this land is. It's not even a good one. Like, he just totally jacked it up. Broken ankle, melted body, all your bones broken. You're dead. You're just a guy wearing leather and spandex with fake metal wings on. Okay? Like, why do you have to push it so far? Why do you have to push it so far? Not only that, but let me just fast forward. I think it might be in this. This fight right here, this particular fight, where he's fighting this guy right here, who is, I forget in the movie, y'all. Brave New World. What's his name? Yeah, Sidewinder. So he's fighting Sidewinder in the movie, who's like a mercenary. So that's the other thing, man. There's literally like, Sidewinder was supposed to be a bad guy, and then they ended up having the president, Harrison Ford's character, Thaddeus Ross, be the bad guy, and then it ended up actually being Samuel Stearns, who was the bad guy, and it's like, just figure it out. Figure out the story you want to tell, and just tell that story. I've noticed that in a couple movies in the last couple years, where like they ham fist, like Aquaman was really bad. Aquaman did this with like several subplots. Both of the movies were terrible, but the first one, it was like, you have a bad guy already. Mantis, like, just stick with that bad guy. Stop making other people also the bad guy, because it takes away from the impact of that. Like, he was just a side plot. He was a side mission, right? Like, it didn't make sense. So there was 3 bad guys in this movie, and it really takes you out of them being the bad guy, because it wasn't like this. There was no reason for them to be bad guys. It was just, I do bad things because revenge sake. That's it. That's not that interesting. So anyway, he's fighting Sidewinder in the movie, and Sidewinder stabs him in the chest with a decent sized knife, probably a 5-inch blade, maybe a 6-inch blade. It goes far into his chest. And remember, he's not Super Soldier. He's just a human, and you see how far it goes in. There is no, he's wearing just like one layer t-shirt, and it goes all the way through his chest, not on the heart side, right? Even though the heart's kind of more in the middle to the left. I think he stabs him. I think he does get stabbed in the right side, okay? So the heart is not there. However, there is a ton of musculature, and there's bones. He could have hit the collarbone. You would be in a lot of pain. You'd be in big trouble if somebody stabbed you 5 inches deep anywhere in your body. Maybe not vital organ, but you'd be jacked up for a long time. And he gets stabbed in the gut, like kind of where your appendix is, with an axe, and it goes a couple inches deep. And he literally shrugs it off. I'm not kidding you. The very next scene, which chronologically is only maybe an hour later, he shows up, and he just has a little bandage on it and a bandage down here. And he's like, all right, we got to go. I'm ready to go right now. And he's like, what happened? You got stabbed twice, bro. And he just completely ignores it. He also blew up in a car. Completely ignored it. So I think that just the inconsistencies. There's another scene too, and I know I'm spoiling things right now, but Red Hulk, who for all intents and purposes should be as strong as normal Hulk. I don't think there's any reason why he wouldn't be, other than maybe like the amount of gamma radiation that he got wasn't the same amount as Bruce Banner or something like that, or the refine, how refined it was or whatever. And I get that, but at the end of the day, when you see Red Hulk versus Green Hulk, they're the same size. They should be very similar. And they never explained to us that he should be weaker. So we have to assume that he's the same strength as Green Hulk, or darn near close to it. I mean, look, he's tossing cars like they're, a softball, right? He's just chucking it like it's nothing. And what ends up happening is, again, Sam Wilson's just a person, and he's just wearing a protective suit. It does not give him superpowers. He's not a super soldier. And Red Hulk swings this beam at him, and he catches it. And then they explain that by his jet thrusters on the back of his wings pushing back Red Hulk's swinging this flagpole. Now, first of all, that's even with the jet thrusters, they wouldn't be able to create enough thrust to push back from Red Hulk swinging his flagpole like a baseball bat. He couldn't stop me with his hands swinging a baseball bat as hard as I could, much less a being that can throw tanks and cars, right? So they would have melted his arms and melted his face. I'm not kidding you. There was just tons of inconsistencies. They tried to make him way stronger than he could be. And then at the end, he talks Red Hulk down. Like he's like, you don't want to do this, man. This is going to ruin your relationship with your daughter. And the movie ends. And Red Hulk goes, oh, you're right. I don't want to be Red Hulk anymore. I'll just be the president again. So it's a complete mishmash. There's a bunch of ideas here that if maybe fleshed out on their own could have been really good. But the amount of subplots, the amount of characters they tried to introduce and make interesting, you can see that they really bloated this movie because they rewrote it and reshot it so many times. It is very obvious. So this movie, which maybe could have been good if the superhero wasn't so darn inconsistent and if there weren't so many subplots, I really liked the espionage part of this. I really liked the government corruption part of this. That resonates right now because we have had a corrupt government for many years, right? And now it's finally starting to get straightened out. But this movie in its current form is a joke. And I really wanted to like it. Like when I first started seeing it, I'm like, okay, there's something here. And then it veered off in left field at the end. So they kind of ruined it. I don't think Sam Wilson should have ever been Captain America. I think they made a big mistake with this. And at the very end, they do an end credit scene and they're like, he's coming back. Captain America will return. And I'm assuming they mean this one, even though we know that there's another Captain America or Steve Rogers is coming back for another movie. I don't know, man. They're a mess right now. So it seems like a joke. This movie could have been good, but I think they really flubbed it with all the rewrites and all that crap. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. This for me is a 5 out of 10. It's an average movie. There was some entertaining parts. A lot of it was kind of broken. So that's it for me. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.